Hello everyone, my name is David Oni. Welcome to my YouTube channel, David Oni Wiz, W-I-Z. As you know, we always come around here to give you, academic teachings on how to, build you academically. And today we're going to look at another different topic entirely, which is what we call authority. So today we're looking at government, and the topic we are considering today is authority. 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 Um, some of you must have come across the word authority, and you might not have an in depth analysis or knowledge about what authority actually means. And that is why we are here today to teach you on what authority is, to look at the sources of authority, and to look at types of authority, and also to look at differences between authority and power. But before we move on, let us quickly define what is authority. So, authority can be defined as the ability to give orders and enforce obedience. Authority can be defined as the ability to give order and enforce obedience. This is actually the definition of authority. If you look at the definition of authority, you discover that it is quite different from what we call power. So, authority and power, they are not the same thing. So, and that's why we're looking at authority today, because we've discussed about power before. So, we're looking at what is authority today and go deeply into what authority actually mean when you're talking about it academically. So we said authority can be defined as the ability to give orders and enforce obedience. If you look at this definition, there is nothing like coerciveness or force in this definition. What we're saying here is that authority does not apply force. Authority does not apply force like power. So what we're saying there is that authority what is the ability that is bestowed on an individual based on his influence or charisma or qualities. So the quality of an individual will endear him to exercise authority. The charisma of an individual will endear him, or the influence of an individual will endear him to exercise authority. So, exercise authority that one exercise is based on the position he occupies in the office or the position he occupies in the society. So, what we're saying here is that we have what we call positional authority. So, the kind or the type of authority, the kind of office you occupy will determine the exercise of authority you are going to give to other people and also to enforce their obedience. So the authority that one exercises is based on the position he occupies in the society. And don't forget, authority goes with influence, charisma, and the attribute of an individual that endears people to him. So authority will cease to exist when the person vacates the office. When the person vacates the office, the authority will not exist any longer. So authority is based on the personal quality or charisma or influence of an individual at one particular time or the other for him to be able to exercise what we call authority over other people. So your position of authority will determine your what? Your authority. Now let us quickly look at what we call types of authority. So according to Max Weber, according to Max Weber, there are three types of authority. We have what we call traditional authority, legal authority, and what we call charismatic charismatic authority. Charismatic authority. So Max Weber makes it easier for us by identifying three types of authority or three sources of authority. So, according to Max Weber, there are three types of sources of authority. So, what we're talking about here is the sources of authority. Sources of authority. Sources of authority. So, according to Max Weber, there are three types of or sources of authority. We have what we call traditional authority, we have what we call legal authority, and we have what we call charismatic authority. Now, let us quickly identify them one after the other. Now, the first one is what we call traditional authority. The traditional authority is a type of authority that one exercises based on the existing custom and tradition in a society. So it is from this authority that the so-called obas, the obis, and what and the emirs they derive their authority. We're talking about an authority that has been existing for a very long period of time based on the customs and tradition of the people. So that kind of an authority is referred to so what we call a traditional authority. Then legal authority is an authority that is based on the existing rules and regulations that exist in society, e.g., the constitution. So if you're talking about legal authority, you're talking about an authority that is based on the existing rules and regulation, precept, laws that guides a particular society. So such an authority is a legal authority. Then when you talk about charismatic authority, you are talking about an authority that is based on the extraordinary quality of an individual or the influence of an individual that endears people to him. So such an authority is what we call charismatic authority. So when you have a good extraordinary qualities, when you have a good charisma, when you have a good influence over people over a particular period of time, which when you give an instruction and they obey you, you say that such an authority is a charismatic authority. So according to Max Weber, there are three sources of authority: traditional based on the existing rules and regulation, legal authority based on what on the rules and regulation according to which society is operated, which is the constitution, and the charismatic authority based on the extraordinary quality of an individual. So these are the three types of authority. Now let us quickly continue from there because we're still going to look at what we call types of authority. Types of authority. We're going to pick these three from these sources. So we have number one, traditional authority, traditional authority, coercive authority, coercive authority, coercive authority. Number three, delegated authority, delegated authority. Number four, legal rational authority. Number five, positional authority. Then number six, we have technical authority. Then we also have what we call charismatic authority. Charismatic authority. So let us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let us quickly look at this seven. So these are the types of authority that we have. This first one is what we call traditional authority. We discussed it before. We said traditional authority is an authority based on the existing custom and tradition according to which a society is operated, and this authority is customary. And we have also mentioned that it's from this authority that the so-called Oba, the emirs, and the what and the obis they actually derive their authority. Then we also talk about what we call number two is what we call coercive authority. Coercive authority is also the same thing as what as forceful authority. An authority that is based on the application of force is referred to as what as a coercive authority. When an authority is based on the application of force, you refer to it as what as coercive authority. Then delegated authority, which is the number three, is an authority that is given to a subordinate to exercise on specific functions. Delegated Delegated authority is an authority that is given to a subordinate to exercise on a specific functions. So that is delegated authority. Then legal authority is the same thing as what as with the sources of authority which we have discussed here. We said that a legal authority is what is an existing rules and regulation according to which what a society is what is actually operated. So those that exercise what such authority are legally qualified. They are legally qualified. They are given such authority to exercise on behalf of the existing rules and the regulation. So they are legitimate and they are legally qualified. Then another one is what we call positional authority. This is the type of authority that you exercise based on the position you exercise in the society. And such authority will cease to exist immediately you vacate that office. So you continue to exist that authority as long as you're in that position. But once you want to vacate or you leave that position, such an authority will cease to exist. Then we have what we call technical authority. If you are referring to a technical authority, you are talking about the kind of an authority that is exercised by people that have the technical know-how or they have the technical ability. So such an authority is not a generalized authority. It's an authority that is exercised by those that have the technical know-how or knowledge about a particular thing, which is not what a generalized knowledge. So such an authority is a technical authority. Then charismatic authority again is an authority that is based on the quality of an individual or the extraordinary quality of an individual at a particular period of time. Then mind you, when you talk about traditional authority, under traditional authority can be transferred from one generation to the other because it is hereditary. It is hereditary. When we are talking about what the position of the king, or I mean the position of the king, like the Oba, the Emir, or the what or the Obi. So it can be transferred from one generation to the other. Now let us quickly look at what we call the differences between power and authority. So we quickly rush it. Differences between power and authority because of our time. Differences between power and authority. Differences between power. Differences between power and authority. Differences between power and authority. Number one, power cannot be delegated. Power cannot be delegated. Then authority can be delegated. Number two, power goes with sanction. With sanction. Authority can only punish. Can only punish. Then number three, state that exercise power can order the death of a citizen. Of a citizen. Authority cannot order the death of a citizen. Power applies force or coercion. Authority does not. Number five, power lacks legitimacy. Legitimacy. Authority has legitimacy. We have to be very fast because of our time, and that's why I'm trying to shorten those things for you. So number one, differences we're talking about here, differences between power and authority. Like I said at the beginning of this topic, I said power and authority are not the same thing. So let us quickly look at the difference between power and authority. Power cannot be delegated. Authority can be delegated. What we're saying there is that what you cannot share power with anybody, but you can share authority. Like when we talk about delegated authority in this topic, we mentioned delegated authority. We said the delegated authority is an authority that is given to a subordinate to exercise on what on specific functions. But power cannot be delegated. You can never delegate power, but you can delegate authority. Then power goes with sanction. When you talk about sanction, sanction is a punishment or a reward for carrying out an action. So in most cases, in international relations, when you have to come about the game that nation play or the politics among the nations, there's what we call sanction. When in a particular country, a nation state is not compliant to a particular body of rules and regulation or the other, the organization can decide to lay sanction on what on such a country. And such sanction can be political sanction, economic sanction, cultural sanction, or what or social economic sanction. So power goes with sanction, but authority can only punish an individual. For example, a school principal that is exercising authority, he cannot order what that a student or should be destroyed or he should not interact with other students again. It's not possible. What the principal can only do is to punish such a what a student. And if I thought the student is going to be expelled from the school, there must be a reason for it. So authority power goes with sanction, but authority can only punish such an individual. The state that exercises power can order the death of a citizen. So when the state is exercising power, it has what the power to order the death of a citizen. Like in some countries, they have what we call capital punishment for offenders when they commit a particular crime. But on the part of authority, it cannot order the death of a citizen. The least that authority can do is to punish such an individual. But the state that exercises power can order the death of a citizen by firing squad or either a letter injection or by poisoning or any form of form of death or by firing squad. So power applies force or coercion. So when you talk about power, it can go with what with force. Of course, we know that under power we have what we call military power. Nation state exercises military power to settle their disagreement at one particular time or the other by going into what into war. So power can apply force or coercion, but authority does not apply force or coercion. It can only compel an individual or persuade an individual to carry out a particular instruction or an order. Then power lacks legitimacy. State that exercises power, they do not have the legitimacy because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But when you talk about authority, it is legitimate, it is generally accepted as what has been in line with what with the customs and rule regulation of the society. But when you talk about authority, when you talk about power, it lacks a legitimacy. On this note, we are going to stop here for today. All you need to do is to subscribe to our channel,